Flowers. Everybody likes flowers. Oh, I like flowers. And why not? Flowers come in all sorts of colors, all sorts of shapes, all sorts of sizes. I think that's one reason I like flowers. Hey, so many different ones, so many pretty colors. I like the bright red ones, and we have some yellow and orange, and there's some pink and blue ones. I don't see many blue ones, but I like them. There's too many colors to count, really. But we're talking about flowers. So maybe you have a favorite color. We can find a flower that color. And there are many different shapes too. So flowers have these little petals. Yeah. Some have a lot of petals, like too many to count in some of these. And then there are others where there's just a few. Look at this. There's, let's see, one, two, three, four. Yeah, just a few petals. Flowers can be many different sizes. They can be small, medium, or large. Sometimes they can be smaller than small. They can be tiny. And sometimes they can be really large. Sometimes flowers can be really large, like super large, jumbo sized. Yeah, like sunflowers. Now, when I walk across my yard, my yard is mostly grass. So there's no big flowers there, just grass. But if I look closely, I can look closely and I can see these tiny, tiny little yellow flowers. And sometimes they're pink. I think they're kind of cute. But I Googled them. They said they're a weed. A weed like the junk plants. You should Weeds are the ones you should pull up and throw away. Weeds are, well, they're just not supposed to be there. But I like them more than the grass, so I just leave them alone. So yeah, flowers, they come in any size or shape, anything you want. Tiny little ones. But I also like the really big ones. Those super jumbo giants like sunflowers. Yeah, those big yellow ones. Yeah. And they grow sunflower seeds. So we can actually eat that flower, the sunflower. And flowers, they have many different textures. Texture, like, some are smooth, some are shiny, some are rough, eh, some are even hairy. So that's why I like flowers. You can find any kind of flower you want. Yeah, you can plant flowers in your garden. Yeah, you can grow flowers inside. Yeah, grow them in a pot. Yeah, flowers in a pot. That makes the house feel like a garden. So why do we like flowers? Well, I know why I like flowers. I just think they're nice to look at. I like to look at them. They're very pretty. They have all these nice colors, beautiful reds and blues and yellows. Any color you like. Well, almost any color. Some colors I'm not so sure of, like black and white and gray. They're kind of boring. And brown, too. That's not very attractive. So I like the pretty colors. Well, I think they're the pretty colors. I like the reds and the pinks and the blues. But nobody says, "Ooh, I love this brown flower." I'm not sure there are brown flowers. Now, there are white flowers, and these can be very attractive too. White flowers like there's white roses, and there might be white orchids and lilies. But I think in some cultures, lilies that might mean like a funeral. So I don't want to talk about dead people. I want to stay happy here. But lilies are okay. So I like flowers because they look nice, and I think a lot of people feel that way. But they also smell good too. Well, sometimes they smell good. Like I love the smell of a nice fresh rose. And roses, they all smell different too. Some are very like a sweet smell. I like those roses. And then some roses, I I call it the old lady perfume smell. They just smell like something your 80-year-old grandmother would wear, like perfume. Kind of old-fashioned smelling. So, yeah, I think everybody has a favorite flower. Rose might be my favorite, but I wonder why else do we like flowers? Hmm. Well, they look good. Okay. They smell good. Hmm. That's good. But what if I said they taste good? No, really. We don't just look at flowers. Sometimes we eat them. Like roses. I love the smell of roses. I like how they look too, but I like to eat them. So you can take rose petals and make all sorts of stuff. I was in China last year. I go there to visit my family, and I ate these little I ate these little pastries filled with rose petals. They're not really sweet, and they taste like roses. They smell like roses. They're very good. They're delicious. I want another. You don't see these much in the US, but I think they like them in China. That's the only place I've seen them. They might be in other places too. So I already talked about sunflowers. They're very pretty, those super big yellow giant flowers. Uh, they grow a lot they grow a lot in the Midwest here in the US, and they also grow a lot in Ukraine. So sunflowers, they're not just big, they're really big. I mean, they're super big. They're huge. Sunflowers are the giants of the flower world, and they make a lot of seeds. So you can eat the sunflowers. I know I know birds do. And squirrels like the sunflowers too. Now there are other flowers you can make tea with. Some people say flower tea is good for your health. Like it can do magical things to your body. I don't know, make you smarter or live longer. I'm not sure about that. But I think some of the flower tea tastes good. So people like flowers. People like flowers because they look good and they smell nice. But not many people know that they taste good. I also like flowers because flowers bring their friends to my house. What friends? Wildlife. The wild animals that live in my backyard. Yeah, flowers don't just sit there and look pretty. That's not where they're that's not why they're here. Flowers are food for a lot of animals. The flowers in my garden are just full of bees. I love bees. We've got the honeybees. These are the bees that, well, they make honey. Honeybees, they're bees that make honey. Yeah, that's a good name. Now, they're small, they're kind of cute. They can have black and yellow stripes. And they can sting. They can sting if want. They can sting you if they want to. But they usually don't. I think they're very nice, and we don't bother each other. But there are other bees I might like even more. These are big, fat, black bees. Sometimes they're striped. We call them bumblebees. Yeah, bumblebees. I don't know where that word came from, but they're big. And they look kind of silly. Like, they look like they shouldn't be able to fly. It's like if you put wings on your pickup truck. That's not going to fly. It's too big. That's what bumblebees look like. They're really big, and they've got these little wings, but somehow they can still fly. Yeah, the bumblebees, they fly just fine. And the bumblebees love my flowers. So they drink from the flowers. And they drink a sweet juice that the bees love. That flower juice, it's called nectar. And that nectar, well, someday it's going to become honey. I think that's another story, but bees do something magical. They take nectar and they make honey. So flowers are pretty to us. We like the way they look. Bees think the flowers are pretty too. That's why they go there. Bees know that color, and they think, dinner time. So flowers are tasty, and the nectar is delicious. But bees eat the pollen too. Sometimes I wish they could eat all the pollen. Then I wouldn't have allergies. But bees, they fly around, see these pretty flowers, and they fly in and have a drink. It's like free beer. No one will turn that down. So the bees come for the free nectar and pollen. And when they do that, they spread that plant pollen around. And then we get more plants and more seeds and more flowers. Bees like flowers. I like flowers. But also butterflies. Butterflies like flowers. Sometimes I think butterflies are prettier than the flowers. Some of these butterflies have amazing colors and patterns. I look at them, it makes me happy. They just fly around, and they flap those wings. They never sit still. I like that. I like watching the butterflies. It's probably better than scrolling on my phone, no? So it's nice to have flowers. Flowers bring all their friends to my garden. So I have flowers, and those are very nice. But the flowers, they also bring butterflies to my yard. And flowers bring bees, and I like those as much as the flowers. It's different if you live in a city. Not as much space. Maybe you live in an apartment. There's no yard, there's no garden, but it's nice to have a little plant with flowers in a pot. Yeah. Put that on the patio or put it in a window. Yeah, that's nice. And if you do have your own home and you have a yard, then you can plant your own flowers. Yeah, just put them in the ground. I live in the suburbs, so I'm not in the city. I'm near the city. I'm not really, it's not really the country either, but we've got a lawn. I've got a flower garden. Actually, I have two flower gardens. So some people, some people like order. They like things to be just right where they belong. That kind of order. Everything is in the right place. This goes here, that goes there. Like this plant has to be right there in that corner. And this plant has to be 1 meter from the fence. I think that's my wife's system. And it's a good system for some things. She really likes roses. And I like roses too. And those roses, they're exactly where they should be. So she measured the garden. Yeah, she measured the garden, drew a little map, and then planned exactly where each rose would go. And the other plants, they're also right where they belong. You dig a hole where you want it, put the plant in, let it grow. Maybe water it once in a while. So that's a very nice system, and it looks nice. My wife has a good eye for flowers. She always finds the best ones, the prettiest flowers. But I have a different system. I'm kind of messy. I like a more natural way. So I have a space in the garden where I grow my flowers. Did I dig holes and plant the flowers? No, I have an easier way. I just toss I just toss a bunch of seeds on the ground in the spring. Yeah, March or April. It's warming up. I just toss the seeds out there, just throw them all over the place. And then I wait. I wait a few weeks. It's spring, so there's a lot of rain, and it's warming up. Yeah, the sun comes out. And then I wait some more. And then one day, I notice there's a whole bunch of little plants growing. And then, like magic, I have a whole bunch of flowers. Sometimes I don't even know what I'll get. It's just a handful of seeds. But they're all wild flowers. And they're called wildflowers because, well, they're wild. They're natural. They belong here. And all the bees and the butterflies, they love those flowers. And the birds, too. Bees and butterflies love the flowers. But but some birds like flowers too. My favorite is the hummingbird. And these are little birds. Hummingbirds are the smallest birds of all. Hummingbirds are tiny. Sometimes they look like bumblebees. That's how small they are. But they're little birds. They fly around and they do what bees do. They just fly around and sip that nectar. They drink that flower juice. But they don't make honey. Only bees make honey. Hummingbirds, they just drink it. It's like an energy drink. It's like Red Bull for birds. So I really like the hummingbirds. And like the butterflies, they can be very colorful. Sometimes more colorful than the flowers. I like my natural garden, and I think the hummingbirds do too, and the bees, and the butterflies. Yeah, they like my garden. And I like my garden because I live in the suburbs, and so it's not like the city. We have a lot of grass, and we have a lot of trees, but sometimes it feels kind of fake, like artificial. Everybody's got a perfect lawn. The grass, it's the right height. It's just perfect. That grass, it's not too short and it's not too tall. Everything is trimmed beautifully. All the trees, all the bushes, everything's just very organized. Everything in order. But I've got a little corner in the back of my yard. It's a messy little place. It feels like a little wild place. I go out there and I feel like I'm somewhere else. It's kind of magical. I can just sit there and look at all the colors and smell the flowers. I could sit there and watch the butterflies and the bees. If I'm lucky, I'll see a hummingbird. And for just a little while, I feel like I'm somewhere else. It's my tiny little magic flower garden. So it's nice to grow things. I like to grow things. It's fun watching a tiny seed grow. First, you get a little plant, and then one day it turns into a flower. So I've got flowers in a pot on my desk at work. You can also buy flowers, but not in a pot. Yeah, I'm talking about cut flowers. They're not in a pot. They're not growing. Somebody cut them and put them in a bag. And then somebody put those and put them in a store. So you buy these flowers for special times. Like when I think of flowers, I think of Valentine's Day. Flowers can be kind of romantic, especially red flowers, red roses. If you get red roses from somebody, that means they really like you. Well, red roses mean love. But everything doesn't have to be so serious, though. You can give flowers to your friends, and that's a nice thing. Maybe somebody did something nice for you. Well, you don't know what to get them. You can't afford diamonds or a new car. You could give them a coffee mug. I have a video on that. Or you could get them flowers. Now, cut flowers only last a couple days. And the cut flowers, then they go bad. But I think that's not the point. I think it's about giving a gift. Flowers are just a nice way to say, hey, I love you, or wow, thank you. Do I like these cut flowers? Eh, they're nice, but I like the ones that come with bees and butterflies and hummingbirds, just like my garden.